Daniel Russo checked his watch for the third time in 5 minutes. They were late, again. His wife, Monica, was still putting on her earrings in the bathroom. His son, Ethan, was on the couch playing a game on his phone. His daughter, Sofia, was arguing about which shoes to wear. "We need to leave," Daniel called out. "The reservation is at 7. We're not going to make it." Monica emerged from the bathroom, fastening the second earring. "Relax, Daniel. We'll make it." "We won't if we don't leave right now." "Dad, chill," Ethan said without looking up from his phone. "It's just dinner." Daniel bit back a response. It wasn't just dinner. It was their anniversary. 15 years. He'd made reservations at Bellacino's 2 months ago. The best Italian restaurant in downtown Seattle. Monica's favorite. He'd planned everything perfectly, except for the part where his family couldn't get out the door on time. Sofia finally appeared, wearing the silver flats. "Okay, I'm ready." "Finally," Daniel muttered. Monica shot him a look. "Don't start." "I'm not starting. I'm just saying we're 20 minutes behind schedule." "Then let's go." They lived on the 42nd floor of the Madison Tower, a high-rise apartment building in the heart of the city. Daniel grabbed his keys, his wallet, and ushered everyone toward the door. They walked down the hallway to the elevator bank. Daniel pressed the down button and waited. The elevator dinged. The doors opened. It was empty. They stepped inside. Daniel pressed the button for the ground floor. The doors closed. The elevator lurched slightly and began its descent. "Ethan, put the phone away," Monica said. "In a second." "Now, please." Ethan sighed dramatically but pocketed the phone. Sofia leaned against the wall, humming to herself. Monica adjusted her purse strap. Daniel watched the numbers above the door tick downward. 42, 41, 40. "Are we going to talk about what happened at school?" Monica asked, looking at Ethan. Ethan stiffened. "Can we not do this right now?" "You got a detention, Ethan. We need to talk about it." "It wasn't my fault." "That's not what your teacher said." "Yeah, well, Mr. Harrison doesn't like me." Daniel rubbed his forehead. "Ethan, you punched a kid in the hallway. He shoved me first. That doesn't make it okay." "Dad, I'm not going to just let people push me around." There are better ways to handle it." "Like what? Telling a teacher? That doesn't work." Daniel's jaw tightened. "We're not having this conversation right now. You're the one who brought it up. Your mother brought it up." "Don't put this on me," Monica said sharply. The elevator continued its descent. 38, 37, 36. Sofia looked up at her parents. "Are you guys fighting?" "No, sweetie," Monica said quickly. "We're just talking." "It sounds like fighting." "We're fine." The elevator slowed as it approached the 35th floor, and then it jerked. Hard. Everyone stumbled. Daniel grabbed the railing. Monica reached for Sofia. The lights flickered. "What was that?" Sofia's voice was small, frightened. "It's okay," Daniel said. "Just a bump." The elevator jerked again, harder this time. The lights went out completely. For a moment, there was total darkness, and then the emergency lights kicked in, bathing everything in a dim, sickly yellow glow. "Dad?" Ethan's voice was tight. "It's okay. It's just—" The elevator dropped. Not a gentle descent. A freefall. For 3 seconds, they were weightless. Monica screamed. Sofia screamed. Daniel's stomach lurched into his throat. He grabbed for his family, but there was nothing to hold on to. They were falling, and then the emergency brake engaged. The elevator slammed to a stop so violently that Daniel's knees buckled. He hit the floor hard. Monica collapsed beside him. Ethan crashed into the wall. Sofia fell forward, her head hitting the metal railing with a sickening crack. "Sofia!" Monica scrambled to her daughter, pulling her into her lap. Blood trickled from a gash on Sofia's forehead. The 10-year-old was crying, her face pale. "I'm okay," Sofia whimpered. "I'm okay, Mama." "You're bleeding. Oh God, you're bleeding." Daniel pushed himself up, his hands shaking. Is she okay? I don't know, I don't... Monica's voice broke. Ethan sat against the wall, holding his arm. I think I sprained my wrist. Daniel looked up at the floor indicator. It was dark, no numbers visible. Where are we? I don't know. Daniel pressed the emergency call button. Nothing. He pressed it again. Still nothing. Why isn't it working? Monica's voice was rising, panicked. I don't know. Daniel pulled out his phone. No signal. Does anyone have service? Ethan checked his phone. No. We're stuck, Monica said. We're stuck in here. And it's okay. Someone will notice. The building has sensors. They'll send help. What if they don't? What if the cable snaps? What if... Monica, stop. You're scaring the kids. I'm already scared, Sofia sobbed. Daniel knelt down, placing a hand on his daughter's back. Hey, look at me. We're okay. We're going to be okay. Sofia looked at him with wide, terrified eyes. Promise? Daniel hesitated. I promise. But he didn't know if it was true. Minutes passed, then an hour. The air in the elevator was getting warmer, thicker. Sofia's bleeding had slowed, but the cut looked bad. Monica had torn a piece of her dress to press against it. Ethan sat in the corner, cradling his wrist. Daniel paced the small space, checking his phone every few minutes. Still no signal. Why isn't anyone coming? Monica whispered. I don't know. It's been over an hour, Daniel. I know. What if something happened to the building? What if there was an earthquake or... There wasn't an earthquake, we would have felt it. Then why aren't they coming? I don't know. Daniel's voice echoed in the small space. He immediately regretted it. Sofia flinched. Monica glared at him. Don't yell at me, she said quietly. I'm sorry, I'm just... He sat down, burying his face in his hands. I'm sorry. The silence stretched. And then Sofia spoke, her voice small. Are we going to die? No, Monica said quickly. No, baby, we're not going to die. But what if the elevator falls again? It won't. How do you know? Monica opened her mouth but didn't have an answer. Daniel looked at his daughter, at his son, at his wife. And for the first time in years, he felt completely powerless. He'd spent his whole life building things. He was an architect. He designed buildings. He understood structures, engineering, how things were supposed to work. But right now, none of that mattered. He couldn't fix this. He couldn't design his way out. He couldn't do anything. I don't know, he finally said. I don't know if we're going to be okay. Monica stared at him. Daniel, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. Ethan spoke up, his voice shaking. Maybe we should pray. Daniel looked at his son, surprised. Ethan never talked about God. None of them did. They used to go to church years ago when the kids were small. But life got busy. Work got demanding. Sundays became errand days, and eventually they just stopped. I don't think that's going to help, Daniel said. Why not? Ethan's eyes were bright with unshed tears. What else are we supposed to do? Daniel didn't have an answer. Monica looked at Ethan, then at Daniel. He's right. We should pray. Monica, I don't care if you think it's pointless. Our daughter is bleeding. We're trapped. And I don't know what else to do. So yes, we're praying. She reached out and took Sofia's hand, then Ethan's. She looked at Daniel expectantly. He hesitated. Then he took Monica's hand and Sofia's. They sat in a circle on the floor of the broken elevator, holding hands. Monica closed her eyes. God, I don't know if you're listening. I don't know if we deserve your help. We haven't talked to you in a long time, but we need you. Please, please help us. Please don't let us die in here. Please protect my children, please. Her voice broke. She couldn't continue. Sofia squeezed her mother's hand. Please, God, I'm scared. I don't want to die. Please help us. Ethan's voice was barely a whisper. "Please." Daniel sat there silent. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know if anyone was listening. But something in the moment, in the desperation, in the raw brokenness of his family, made him speak. "God, if you're real, if you're there, we need you. Please." The elevator shuddered. Everyone froze. "Did you feel that?" Monica whispered. The elevator shuddered again, and then it dropped. Not a free fall this time, a slow, grinding descent, like something was fighting gravity itself. The metal groaned, the walls creaked, they were sinking. Oh God, it's falling." Monica pulled Sofia close. Daniel looked up at the ceiling, his heart pounding. "The cable's giving way." "Do something!" Monica screamed. "I can't! There's nothing I can—" The elevator dropped faster, and then it stopped. Not gradually, instantly, like it had hit an invisible floor, but they weren't at a floor. Daniel looked at the doors. They were still between levels. He could see the gap, the concrete wall of the shaft beyond. "What just happened?" Ethan whispered. "I don't know." The elevator hung there, suspended, completely still. And then the air changed. It was subtle at first, a warmth, a pressure, like the atmosphere itself had shifted. Daniel felt it in his chest, in his lungs. It wasn't oppressive. It was comforting. Sofia looked up, her eyes wide. "Mama, do you feel that?" Monica nodded slowly. "Yes." The yellow emergency lights flickered, and then, impossibly, they brightened. Not to white light, but to something softer, golden, warm. "What's happening?" Daniel stood, looking around. "What is this?" And then he heard a voice, not from the speaker, not from outside, from inside the elevator, a voice that was quiet and impossibly clear. "You're safe." Daniel spun around. Standing in the corner of the elevator, where no one had been a moment before, was a man. He looked maybe 30. Jeans, a simple shirt, dark hair. His face was kind, calm, with eyes that seemed to see straight through Daniel. Monica gasped. "Who are you? How did you get in here?" The man smiled gently. "You asked me to come?" Daniel's mind raced. "That's impossible. The doors didn't open. You couldn't have—" "I didn't come through the doors." "Alias, before we continue, comment where you're listening to this story from. Then how—" "You prayed," the man said simply. "All of you. And I heard you." Sofia stared at him, her fear melting into wonder. Are you Jesus?" The man knelt down, bringing himself to her level. "Yes." Daniel's legs nearly gave out. "This isn't real. We hit our heads. We're hallucinating." "You're not hallucinating." Jesus looked at Daniel, his gaze steady. "You're exactly where you think you are. Trapped in an elevator shaft, between the 33rd and 34th floors. The cable is severed, the emergency brake failed, and you're suspended in midair by nothing. That's impossible. It is impossible." Jesus stood. "That's why I'm here." Monica's hands were shaking. "I don't understand. Are we dead? Is this heaven?" "No, you're alive. All of you." Jesus walked to the center of the small space, looking at each of them in turn. "But you're right. You should have fallen. The cable snapped 45 seconds ago. The elevator should have dropped 20 floors and crashed, but it didn't, because I caught it." "You caught it?" Daniel's voice was incredulous. "This thing weighs thousands of pounds." Jesus smiled faintly. "I know. How is that possible? Because nothing is impossible for me." Daniel stared at him, his mind struggling to process what he was seeing, what he was hearing. "Why? Why would you do that?" "Because you asked me to. We haven't prayed in years. We stopped going to church. We stopped caring. Why would you help us now?" Jesus' expression softened. Because I never stopped caring about you. Daniel shook his head, angry tears filling his eyes. That doesn't make sense. If you cared, why did you let us get trapped in here in the first place? Because sometimes you need to be broken before you're ready to be healed. That's cruel. No. Jesus' voice was gentle but firm. What's cruel is watching you destroy yourselves slowly. You've been falling for years, Daniel, all of you, just in a different way. Daniel flinched. What are you talking about? Jesus looked at Monica. When was the last time you told your husband you loved him? Monica's eyes widened. I don't. 12 days ago. You said it in passing while you were leaving for work. You didn't mean it. You were angry because he forgot to pick up Sofia from soccer practice. Monica's face crumpled. How do you... Jesus turned to Daniel. And you? When was the last time you asked your wife how she was really doing? Daniel's throat tightened. We talk. You talk about schedules, about bills, about the kids, but when was the last time you asked her how her heart was? Daniel couldn't answer. Jesus looked at Ethan. And you're so angry, you think no one sees it. But I do. You're angry at your dad for working all the time. You're angry at your mom for always being stressed. You're angry at yourself for not being good enough. Ethan's lip trembled. I'm not... Yes, you are. And it's okay, but you can't keep carrying it alone. Jesus looked at Sofia. His expression grew even softer. And you, little one, you think it's your fault. You think if you were better, if you didn't need so much, maybe your parents would be happy. Sofia's tears spilled over. Is it my fault? No, sweetheart, it's not your fault. It never was. Jesus sat down on the floor, crossing his legs, and gestured for them to sit with him. Slowly, hesitantly they did. You're falling apart, Jesus said quietly, not because you're bad people, but because you forgot how to hold each other up. You forgot how to listen, how to forgive, how to love. Daniel's voice was hoarse. So you trapped us in an elevator to teach us a lesson? No, I didn't trap you. The elevator malfunctioned. That's just life. But I did stop you from falling. And yes, I'm using this moment to show you what you've been too busy to see, which is that you need me and you need each other. Monica wiped her eyes. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to fix us. You can't. Not on your own. Jesus reached out and took her hand. But you don't have to. That's what I'm here for. Daniel looked at him, his voice breaking. I don't know if I believe in you. I don't know if I ever really did. I know. Jesus' gaze was patient, kind. But I've always believed in you. Why? Because I made you. I know every part of you, the good, the bad, the broken, and I love all of it. Daniel's chest heaved. I don't deserve that. No one does. That's the point. Jesus stood, pulling Monica gently to her feet. Then Ethan, then Sofia, then Daniel. I'm going to get you out of here, Jesus said. But first, I need you to understand something. This moment, right now, is a gift. Not the danger, but the clarity. You've been given a chance to see what matters. Don't waste it. He turned to face the elevator doors. He placed both hands on the metal, his palms flat against the surface. What are you doing? Daniel asked. Opening a door. You can't. We're between floors. There's a concrete wall on the other side. Jesus looked back over his shoulder and smiled. Watch. He pushed. The doors didn't open. They disintegrated. Not violently. Not in an explosion. They simply dissolved, turning to dust that floated away like mist. And beyond where the doors had been, there was no concrete wall. There was a hallway, carpeted, lit, normal. The 33rd floor. Monica's mouth fell open. How? I told you, nothing is impossible. Jesus stepped through the opening and turned back, extending his hand. Come on. Sofia went first, taking his hand, stepping out into the hallway. Then Ethan, then Monica. Daniel was the last. He stood at the threshold, staring at the space where the wall should have been. "This doesn't make sense," he whispered. "Faith rarely does," Jesus said gently. "Are you coming?" Daniel took his hand and stepped out. The moment his foot touched the hallway floor, he heard a sound behind him, a loud, metallic groan. He turned just in time to see the elevator drop. It fell, plummeting down the shaft, and crashed at the bottom with a deafening explosion of metal and debris. If they'd still been inside, they would have died instantly. Daniel's knees buckled. Jesus caught him, holding him steady. "You're okay," Jesus said. "You're all okay." Daniel looked up at him, tears streaming down his face. "You saved us." "Yes." "Why?" "Because I love you, and because your story isn't finished yet." Jesus released Daniel and stepped back, looking at the family standing in the hallway, shaken but alive. "Go home," he said. "Hold each other, talk to each other, really talk. And don't forget what happened here tonight." "Will we see you again?" Sofia asked. Jesus knelt down and cupped her face in his hands. "You'll see me every time you look for me. I'm always there, Sofia. You just have to remember to look." He stood and looked at each of them one more time. "I love you, all of you, don't forget that." And then he was gone. Not in a flash, not in a sound. He simply wasn't there anymore. The four of them stood in the empty hallway, staring at the space where he'd been. Fire alarms began blaring. Emergency lights flashed. Footsteps echoed from the stairwell as building security rushed toward them. But Daniel didn't move. He just pulled his family close, holding them tight, and whispered, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything." Monica sobbed into his shoulder. "Me too." Ethan wrapped his arms around his father's waist. Sofia pressed her face against her mother's side. And for the first time in years, they held each other like they meant it. The building was evacuated. Fire trucks, ambulances, and news crews swarmed the area. The Russo family was checked by paramedics. Sofia's cut required 5 stitches. Ethan's wrist was sprained but not broken. Daniel and Monica were bruised but otherwise unharmed. The lead fire marshal, a man named Captain Ray Delgado, pulled Daniel aside. "Can you tell me what happened in there?" Daniel hesitated. The elevator dropped. The cable snapped, but it stopped. Stopped where? Between the 33rd and 34th floors. Captain Delgado frowned. "That's impossible. We just pulled the wreckage from the basement. The entire car fell 33 floors. If you were inside when it fell..." "We weren't," Daniel said quickly. "We got out." "How?" "The doors don't open between floors." They opened. The doors were completely destroyed in the crash. "There's no mechanism that could have..." Captain Delgado stopped, studying Daniel's face. "Are you telling me the truth?" Daniel looked at Monica, at his kids, then back at the captain. "Yes, I know it doesn't make sense, but we got out, and we're alive." Captain Delgado stared at him for a long moment. Then he shook his head. "I've been doing this job for 26 years. I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen a family survive a 33-floor elevator drop. Never." "We didn't survive it," Daniel said quietly. "We were saved." The captain didn't ask what he meant. The story made the news. Family survives catastrophic elevator failure. Engineers examined the wreckage, the cable, the shaft. They found no explanation for how the family escaped. The elevator had fallen. The impact had been devastating. There was no way anyone inside could have survived. But the Russo family had. Investigators reviewed security footage from the 33rd floor. The video showed the elevator doors intact at 7:43 p.m., and then at 8:27 p.m., the doors were simply gone. The family walked out of the shaft as if walking through an open doorway. The footage was analyzed by 3 separate experts. All 3 concluded the same thing. The video was authentic. No tampering, no editing. The doors had vanished. No one could explain it. The building was closed for 2 months while safety systems were overhauled. The Russo family moved to a different apartment, a smaller place on the ground floor. They never took an elevator again if they could avoid it. But something else changed. They started going to church again, a small one, a few blocks from their new apartment. They sat together in the back row every Sunday. They held hands during the songs. They prayed together before meals. They talked, really talked. Daniel cut back his hours at work. Monica signed them all up for family counseling. Ethan's anger didn't disappear overnight, but it got better. Sofia stopped having nightmares after a few months, and every year, on the anniversary of that night, they went back to the Madison Tower. They stood outside, looking up at the building, and Daniel would say the same thing. "Thank you. Thank you for catching us." He didn't say it to the building. He said it to the one who'd been there in the elevator, the one who'd held them when they were falling, the one who'd opened a door where there was only a wall. Years later, when Sofia was in college, she wrote a paper about miracles. She interviewed her family, asking them what they remembered most about that night. Monica said, "I remember feeling like we were going to die, and then feeling like we were being held." Ethan said, "I remember being angry at God for letting it happen, and then realizing he was the only reason we survived." Daniel said, "I remember feeling powerless, and learning that sometimes that's exactly where you need to be." Sofia asked her father, "Do you really think it was Jesus? Like, actually him?" Daniel looked at his daughter, older now, wiser, still asking the questions that mattered. "Yes," he said, "I do, because I felt him. And I know beyond any doubt that we didn't save ourselves that night. He did." Sofia wrote her paper. She titled it, "When Falling Became Flying, A Family's Encounter with the Impossible." She got an A. And at the bottom, her professor wrote, "This is one of the most powerful testimonies I've ever read. Thank you for sharing it." The Russo family still lives in Seattle. They still gather for Sunday dinners. They still hold hands and pray. And when people ask them about that night, they don't shy away from the story. They tell it, every detail, every impossible moment, because they know the truth. God caught them when they were falling, and He's been holding them ever since. If this story moved your heart today, share it with someone who's falling, someone who feels stuck, someone who doesn't know if they'll survive what they're going through. Because God is still in the business of catching people, and He's still opening doors where there are only walls.